Okay, how does this news impact the team? I mean,
Yeah.
it seemed like they were riding a wave of positivity. They've been winning and losing, but they get Purdy back, they get Pearsall back. It seemed like the conversation around the team was mostly about football for the first time in a while, and then they beat the Cardinals. They whipped the shit out of the Cardinals, and Purdy looks good. It's all good. And then this comes down, and it really reveals that the organization hasn't really been all in about winning this year, considering they voided the guarantee. I mean, imagine players on the team being like, "Hey, Brandon's coming back, right? Brandon's coming back, right? We're gonna make a run, right?" You voided his guarantees in training camp and didn't tell us, and that's why we didn't do anything at the deadline. Like, is this another dark cloud they didn't need, or do you think that the players are like, you know what, his problem? Let's go play football.
I think it's a dark cloud they didn't need, but I don't necessarily think that it impacts the team. I think that you and I and fans probably look at it and be like, oh man, that would be a psychological blow. I genuinely think that players in the locker room are like, he hasn't been here all year. He was really kind of out of sight, out of mind, other than, Kittle mentioning him one random off time. He hasn't been a part of this core all year long. We're just going to keep doing what we've done all year, which is not play with him. And did he really? He hasn't been around for 6-8 weeks either. So it's not like he's like ingratiated into this current iteration of the 49ers. So I genuinely don't think that it impacts the players on the field or the play on the field at all. I
Do you
don't
think
foresee it being any issue.
they look at, and I know we don't know the answer to this. Do you think they look at Ayuk and say, boy, what a jerk. Why did you just lose yourself all this money and get yourself, you know, essentially released from this team? Or do you think they look at the situation like, man, they did Ayuk dirty, dude. Like, that's my guy. And I feel like the official story from the organization isn't what really happened. Like, they did him dirty, and who's next? Is it me?
I think that there's probably a split somewhere. I wouldn't say
Probably.
it's 50-50, but you know that Ayuk has his guys in the
I
locker
would
room
think so,
that
right?
100% are like, we know the truth, or at least we believe what Brandon's telling us. He's our
Yeah.
guy.
Yeah.
This is just another point of why this is a business. Jawan Jennings probably was privy to this, the way that he's been acting, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? He probably, because receivers at the very least are going to be close with Brandon Aiyuk, and Jawan Jennings has been here a long time. You got to imagine the way that he's kind of carried himself. He's looking at it like, I know what you're doing to my guy BA. You'll definitely do it to me. Like, screw you guys. I'm going to do whatever's best for me.
I got one more point to make. Maybe this isn't part of this topic, but Brandon Ayuk, you could argue that Kyle helped him get paid,
Mm.
putting him in this system and whatnot. But I feel like Ayuk also helped other people get paid. Like,
Do you want me to roll on?
well, yeah, but I was thinking the quarterback. I mean,
Yeah.
part of Purdy putting up those numbers was Ayuk catching those passes, and would his EPA per play have been so freaking high if Ayuk wasn't leading the league in yards per route run? So Ayuk does all this to help Purdy get paid, and Ayuk was team Purdy. We love him. We don't need Baker Mayfield for a long time. And then it didn't work out in the Super Bowl, and Purdy didn't go to Ayuk very much. And all this stuff has happened since then. And Purdy hasn't said a peep. I mean, a lot of times quarterbacks stand up and advocate for their wide receivers. I mean, Tom Brady advocated for freaking Antonio Brown way after he lost his mind. I mean, Joe Burrow was advocating for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in the press. Like, what are we doing? We gotta, these guys are essential. Brock never said anything about Brandon. Maybe he didn't feel like Brandon was essential, but isn't that kind of your job to, yes or no? I don't know.
I think there's tension there, and let's go through the whole thing real quick. What we do know is Trey Lance was Brandon Aiyuk's guy. They were very good friends. So I'm sure that he wasn't a fan with how the Trey situation was handled. Going into last offseason, Brandon Aiyuk, to be fair, talked really, really good about a quarterback in the NFL that wasn't his. That was Jaden Daniels before he'd even taken an NFL snap. Went
And
out of his way to praise him.
both Purdy and Aiyuk got married in the same offseason. Neither one
Neither of
invited
them
them
went
to
to
each
each other's
other. Yeah.
weddings.
Mm-hmm.
Brandon Aiyuk probably looks at his injury and how he got injured and is like, that was a hospital ball. You laid me out to dry, man. And now my career is hanging in the balance. So you add all, and it doesn't make any one of them right. These are just things that have happened. Yeah, I'm sure that those guys probably aren't the best of friends. I would imagine that
Seems
they're
like
not.
it.
I don't think Purdy cares.
I just feel like I grew up on Steve Young, and Steve
Yeah.
Young made it known that he was best friends with Jerry Rice. And I'm sure he would have been best friends with whoever wide receiver. I
But
mean,
Jerry
he
Rice
was.
was established prior to Steve Young, though.
Another one though. Like he had To on his best freaking behavior.
It's
Go
true.
back and look at To's career.
Yeah, he
That
did.
To shit that he pulled, the larger than life, more above the team
Garcia,
stuff, that
whatever.
was
Yeah.
post Steve Young. When
Mhm.
Steve Young was the quarterback, To was Terrell, and he was the sir, yes, sir, wide receiver 2 on that team behind Jerry Rice. And that was the best. That was arguably the best years of To's career because he actually was a team player because
Yeah.
of Steve. And Steve wasn't like hard on To. He wasn't tough love. Like he loved To, and
Yep.
To loved him. I mean, he went back to To in that game against the Packers when he'd been dropping
Yep.
passes left and right. He trusted him. To came back crying, hugging him. I mean, that's a different level of leadership. And if I just can only imagine if Steve Young were Brandon Ayuk's quarterback and he needed Brandon Aiyuk and felt like he was valuable, he wouldn't let this happen, man. He would have been speaking on behalf of Brandon. He would have made sure that he was here and that the whole thing worked. It's part of it's something, it's not your duty as a quarterback, but it's something you can do considering you're the CEO, essentially.
Yeah, and but I also want to be fair to Brock as well. Again, Ayuk fired some of the shots. You can see that those guys you could see why there might be slight animosity, or at least at the very least that they wouldn't stand up for each other. But I believe that Purdy has advocated publicly for some of his other players. He definitely does for Ricky, Jawan Jennings, George Kittle. He talks highly of those guys. It's just Brandon Aiyuk hardly knew you, I guess. I don't know.
It just seemed like Ayuk was clearly feeling alienated starting last year.
Yes.
And it seemed like the whole organization.
Since his rookie year, Grant.
And it feels like the whole locker room and organization's
Yeah.
attitude is tough shit. Like, sorry,
Yeah.
it's a football team. We're paying you. You have a job. And I can see why they'd feel that way. But there's also this other like buddy click thing on this team that's very different from other teams. And I could see where he's like, look, you don't like me, but I'm better than you. And I'm better than the fullback. I'm better than that guy in the clique. Then like, you gotta let me in the clique, right? And it's like,
I will tell you though, BA seems to rub people the wrong way, whether that's his fault or not. He and Debo are not friends at all. They're not friends. They spent how many years on a team together, being wide receiver 1 and wide receiver 2. They're not friends. They don't even follow each other on Instagram. Nothing. Like they're not friends with each other at all.
Who is BA's friend on this team? I think his friend's in Washington.
Yeah, I think he and Jennings are friends. I do. I think he and Jennings are probably pretty good friends, but that's about it.
I don't even know. I'm sure they're cordial. I'm not even sure. I don't even know. I'm sure that he's friends with Jaden Daniels, and he's such good friends with Jaden Daniels. It almost feels like that's his only friend.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I do think he's a bit misunderstood too. I genuinely think that's part of that. But
I don't think he fully understands himself yet. He's still pretty young. I didn't know me until, at 27, let alone 37.
But one thing that we can say about BA is going back to a couple training camps ago. What was it? Going into the 2023 season, was it? Where he got in a fight with Fred Warner? Like that was him being a leader. The crap talking he did with Demo, it was good, fun banter. Demo has said that he's made him a better player. So like
at the same
time, he was a trash teammate.
At the same time, Fred Warner literally did square off against Brandon Aiyuk. I've never seen any of the other core members do that. Like maybe that was a glimpse into how certain team leaders felt about Brandon and how Brandon felt about the team and how alienated he was from it. Like pretty boy, golden boy, Fred Warner.
Yeah.
Knuckle up. I'm not impressed.
But that's what I'm saying with Aiyuk is like, to me, like that show, the reason I said that that's him being a good teammate by fighting Warner is because people don't realize, but the offense and defense are
Mhm.
very separated. They're almost two separate teams. Like, yes, they're all on one team, but most of the time they don't cross over. They're not in team meetings together. They don't share lunchroom tables and all. They're very, very separate. And so when he's out on the field and he felt like his guys were taking extra shots that weren't deserved, he stood up for his guys and did so against Fred Warner. So
That's true. Oh, I got one more thing I wanted to say before we do our super chats. So I feel like moments like that kind of showed you that he was an outsider, and I'm an outsider,
Mhm.
so I like that about Brandon Aiyuk, fighting Fred Warner. And the last one, I feel like I had a feeling it was over with Brandon Aiyuk and the Niners when this happened. Remember during preseason, I was downstairs about to do my instant reaction, and Brandon Aiyuk came over and gave me a
yeah,
big hug, and I talked about it in my post game stream. Man, I feel like that's what you do when you're about to not be on the 49ers anymore. You can't hug me.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
I'm persona non grata around here.
yeah.
Like if the Niners have paid you and you're in with the Niners, like one of the things you
You're not
do is
hugging Grant.
you're not hugging me. They're not like Juszczyk wouldn't like that. Shanahan wouldn't like that. I mean,
No,
Shanahan's been cool with me this year, but like he didn't like me.
yeah.
We've been professional this year, but hugging me? Nah, I feel like that's what you do when you're like, man, I get it. I don't like this organization. And you've been saying truth stuff, and I don't really care if the Niners see me hugging you because I'm out anyway. So
Yeah, I don't
it's
care.
another if they don't like that, hey, what about guarantees because I hug Grant Cohn? How about that? Is that against the rules?
How about them apples? Yeah.
How about them apples? Spider. No, we got this guy. Jewish guy says, imagine how good Mac would have been with BA.
Oh, they would have been.
I hope they traded him to Minnesota. Sincerely, I want to see what that looks like. Spider 3 says, so we have problems with BA and not Juszczyk being paid for none. This team is a mess. Does this lead to John Lynch being fired?
I don't know that this leads to John Lynch being fired. I think there's a lot of reasons to move on from John Lynch.
Someone's going to have to pay for this. I wonder at the end of the season. It could be John. BNA established 1988 says it's like the Niners are surprised the cap exists. Brother Bob says, this is why we should have fired Kyle Levy and company. Steve Lewis says, out of the recent front office blunders, 3 first rounders for Lance, Brock extension, BA contract, what is the most regretful one? For the Niners, I think it's been the BA one. I mean,
yeah,
they get in their mind, they gave him $50 million for 7 games. They can't get over that. Those are the numbers.
Yeah. Brock makes up for Lance, and they like Brock, so they extended him BA for sure.
And while they gave up the picks for Lance, that's not cash. They gave Lance like $20 million. It's more than they would have liked, but you know what I mean? Like it's picks. Like the $50 million is when they're selling off parts of the team, they're thinking about that. You know what I mean? Silent says BA got that CT knee. Money going to Bosa extension. Hope not. What you talking about, Willis says, even though the BA extension was most likely coming from Kyle, this is a hit on John Lynch, the GM. How many L's going to take you get a new one? Yeah, I think this is essentially on his resume, on his ledger.
Lame duck year next year potentially for him. We'll see.
It's true. Good point. So that's a good point. Will they let him be a lame duck, or will they do an extension or a moving on? Like out of respect to John, we didn't want him to be a lame duck.
I feel like they'll lame duck him.
Stephen Draper says this is a coordinated ruse by BA and the Niners. A ruse? I like a ruse.
That's a good
Brother Bob says, our first round picks all gone, hurt, or trash. Yep. Sean for the win says, how is it a bad calculation for both sides unless BA returns to pre-injury form? They recoup the cap. If Pearsall pans out, the Niners look like they offloaded a malcontent and a bad contract.
Because they had a first round pick on the table 1 year prior to voiding his contract. That's why it's a bad miscalculation by the 49ers.
Brother Bob says, you mean Jake Moody reunited with Debo? Can't wait.
Yeah,
Michael Hoff says the Niners still have pieces, but the wide receiver room needs a complete revamping. Do they hit a proper wide receiver in the first round?
Yeah, I mean, they're going to try, probably. I don't know that they'll
I feel like it's the position they scout the best, or one of the best, receiver. Although they drafted Danny Gray, so I don't know.
And Hurd and Pettis. And
yeah, it's true.
Cowing and...
Sidelines 19 says, made my day to see this duo. The consistency and intelligence you both put into every video is genuinely inspiring. Thanks for always delivering. I
Oh God,
appreciate that. That was very
I feel
nice.
like
I know
you're in the
Jesse for sure
minority
always
there,
says,
brother. I
I just make
appreciate
noises
you.
and sing, and so I don't know about that. TVYT143 says it's been reported that the Niners have an unconventional training staff practices for the NFL. Who in the front office is enabling such practices? Who reported that? Someone told me that like people have been saying.
Chase Senior, I think.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm. He had talked
Yeah,
to other medical training staffs, and
I
they
need to
said
know a
that
little
it's
bit
well
more.
known.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that though. McCann in 78 says reason 102 why Lynch is out after
I
2025.
don't know that he should be, maybe, but I don't know that he
No
will
one will
be.
cry for him if he gets fired. I think Niner fans might want someone to get fired, and I don't think they want it to be Kyle just yet.
Mm.
Josh B says Niners at fault against LA. They ran out with Bourne, MVS, Turner, Tonjes, Juice, and one. Contract is worse than Purdy's in my opinion, because we knew Aiyuk, like Jess said.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Purdy didn't request a trade. Ayuk requested one.
Yeah.
Joseph Ehrenberg says this regime never winning a Super Bowl. Time to move on. What are we covering next? Why don't we all start? I'm going to start covering the Arizona Cardinals, and we can all talk about them and pretend like we care about Michael Wilson. Abu Marco 23 says we in the same spot if Ayuk didn't shatter his knee.
Well, no, because I think they probably would have traded him this offseason.
If they could. I mean, that contract
Yeah.
was a lot, but there were teams that were interested in giving him that contract, so maybe. Joseph Ehrenberg says, hi, Grant, and hi, Jesse. Have a great day. Okay.
What's up?
Too Much Sauce says, y'all mentioned that ownership cheaped out on Levi Stadium. It does seem like a decent stadium that can host Super Bowls. Just wondering, where did they cut corners? Oh, that's a good question. So the thing with Levi Stadium is that it was designed for Hunters Point in San Francisco, and the Bay Area is microclimate. So San Francisco is like the coldest place it's like the coldest place in the freaking world. And there's always fog coming in through there. So it's open air stadium, it'd be fine. But they put it in Santa Clara, which is like Irvine, and it's hot. It's like 75, 80 with no shade anywhere. So there's the half of the stadium that's not facing the sun, which is where all the rich people sit, and it's wonderful for them. It's where the booths are, the suites are, and then there's the have-nots on the east side, which, I mean, there's been people have died over there with heat stroke. I mean, it's just very uncomfortable, and a lot of people who do get those tickets end up just sitting in like the lounges inside because why would you want to bake? So there's that, and they keep upgrading it, but they won't put on shade, which is like that's the one thing you got to do.
And the 49ers acknowledge this because they go to the NFL league office and request road games to start the season and wear what color jerseys at home to start the season, which is really weird. Yeah.
Because so, I mean, instead of just doing all of that, just move back to San Francisco. Yeah. That's what I would do. You're worth $8 billion. Work it out. Peter does not drink, says, even if released, it's still shout out my Mama Aiyuk. That is true for life. McCann 78 says, do you think bringing back Juice was part of Kittle negotiation?
Could you imagine? He's like, yeah, but you got to bring back my guy Juice.
I feel like Kittle made a call. Like, how could you do this? No one asked me if no one, I didn't clear this. Part owner. Sean for the win says, hey, yes, Jesse, they have enough on offense. There's only one ball. Ricky, if healthy, plus George, if healthy, and CMC, if healthy, is enough. They can run the ball. They have mismatches at wide receiver, tight end, running back if they can rush for 75. Yeah, if healthy, the Niners have a lot on offense.
For sure. But also, I love that we're including Ricky with two potential Hall of Fame players. Like, he's proven something because he hasn't.
He's had a few good games. Two 100-yard games in his career. Three. Excuse me. I'm just saying. Yeah. Clown Baby 408 says, after Harbaugh Balky, Jed values Kyle Lynch not ruffling each other's feathers, but Kyle needs to be challenged. What are the chances a new GM comes in?
Are we sure they don't ruffle each other's feathers? I don't know that they're on the same page.
Maybe they'll just make Parag the new GM. The Real Lyrics Media says, what's annoying is the Rams snuck in a Super Bowl and rebuilt their team on the fly. Good drafting with smart free agent moves, i.e. Devontae Adams. Niners seem consistently to make bad moves. Knee-jerk reaction, paying BA.
Their future looks brighter than the 49ers, and they've done a complete teardown.
True. DGTY225 says, I don't trust that we can keep our quarterbacks healthy, especially with a playoff run. Do you trust Adrian Martinez to step in and win a game enough first-team reps? Oh. I think he would have smacked Arizona last week.
Yeah, maybe. Probably.
Spider says Purdy's wide receiver one is CMC.
It's true. Very true.
Josh B says, makes their decision at trade deadline look trash. They knew this was going to happen. Then why not get defensive players knowing you're going wide receiver round one again? I hadn't thought of it that way. Double B Studio says, do you think the Niners strategy of misdirection, lies about players contributes to the success? Since Kyle took over to confuse the opponents, every team does it, but I feel like no one is falling for it anymore. That's a tough one, man. It does seem like the Niners, every time they say something, it's like, oh, wow, you misled us again. That's crazy. So he
Yeah, but
wasn't
people
working
act
out.
like they tell the truth all the time. It's like, oh, when it fits my narrative, it's like the Niners said this, so clearly this is what's happening. When have they ever? Again, D Ford is still week to week, so I'll just throw that out there.
Double B says, if Tom Brady came here, this would be his offense, not Kyle's, and would hold receivers accountable no matter what they get paid, but Kyle runs it. Silky Smooth,
Fair.
you says BA going through withdrawals. What kind? Sean for the win says BA is a small circle kind of guy. Doesn't care if he is liked, but a great teammate. I actually respect him not being in the clique. He earned the payday. He just didn't get to validate the contract. I do too.
I think that's fair.
I'm a small circle kind of guy too, and I wouldn't want to be in Kyle Juszczyk's clique. BNA says,
Yeah.
a fun fact, Ryan's Texans versus Bills 2-0, Kyle's 49ers 0-3. That is impressive. Yeah. Solid did a pretty good job against Josh Allen over there. But again, Kyle's going to be coaching Josh Allen in a year or two. Just keep that in mind.
The whole league's going to be on notice.
Jesse, thanks for giving me an hour and a half, man. This has been a big one.
Course.
I appreciate you coming in for an emergency stream.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Gosh, it's been a while since we've done an actual 49ers After Dark show, huh?
I know. Look, if you guys haven't seen us in a while, you want to watch us do our thing again every Wednesday, members only. You can be a member on his channel, my channel, the coach's channel. We do it for the OGs. So we send out the little link on Wednesday in the community post. Check it out. We're still streaming. Follow Last Second Sports on YouTube and on all social media platforms. Jesse, thank you.
Appreciate it, Grant. It was fun.